Constitution talks about changing the imbalances of the past. And so what we need to continually do is increase access to good quality healthcare that's affordable. And in the COVID moment now, we are thinking about, are we going to have a situation like we did with HIV, where people could only access medicines or vaccines in the case of the science happening now, because at the point of service you have to pay, right? And people who aren't able to afford access to those services will go without. And what we're doing now is to make sure that we have a system that caters to the people who are most vulnerable, and to ensure that healthcare is a right and is not a question of what you can afford. My name is Umunyana Rugege. I'm a human rights lawyer and the executive director of Section 27. I've been doing human rights law for the last 10 years. We have a team of lawyers, of activists, researchers, field workers, communications people, and they are all so passionate. And so it's amazing to be able to lead a team that is so passionate about making social change every day. The key here is to ensure that the most vulnerable children and the most vulnerable members of society have equal access to the law. And that's where we come in with our legal strategies to address those things. But also we work with other organizations. We work in coalition with community-based organizations, with social movements, to ensure that we as lawyers and researchers and activists are able to understand the issues on the ground. And that's really, it's an essential partnership, and the way in which we work has to acknowledge that we're not doing things ourselves, but we do things in collaboration. I think what was important with our involvement in the Xesibe case was that we simply got a phone call and we heard from psychologists and psychiatrists that said there may be a problem down the line because the government of Gauteng is cancelling the contract with Xesibe. And that contract enabled 2,000 mental health care users to access pretty sophisticated healthcare services. And as a result, you know the story, that many of those people ended up in unlicensed facilities, and those facilities were sometimes a garage, sometimes somebody's spare bedroom. And so those people were getting paid because the Department of Health later contracted them. And in fact, they had no business looking after people with serious mental health issues. We ended up in an arbitration with the state. Section 27 represented the many families of those who were deceased. We know that over 94 people died. And we have to remember all of those people all of the time, because their lives were lost as a result of negligence of state officials. And I think also what was quite important about that arbitration was that those government officials had to come to account to those families. They didn't account to anybody else but those families, and that was really critical. For us, it's really important that we build up state institutions, that we strengthen state institutions so that there is accountability for those people who are directly affected, and civil society certainly has that role to play. Starting to see progress, and I think that's important. That's an important moment for us as a society to see that we can advance and to have faith in the institutions that we have, and to ensure that we continually invest in those institutions. And investing in civil society is part of that. And I think we all have to understand how our different roles play out, how we can support government, how government can support business, how business can support civil society and government, and how we can have a kind of shared vision that we've always had in the frame of the Constitution, but in this moment, things have to be much more responsive, and we need to move quickly in order to be able to come out on the other side and begin to build our economy and see growth and build our institutions and just have a more equal society as we envision it in the Constitution.